What's up, Helix users? The day has finally come. 3.0 update is finally here. I am so excited about this. Did you see the boot up screen? Are you kidding me? I love the new colors. I love the boot up. It goes so fast now, and the color's awesome. I'm really excited about that. But what I'm more excited about is the addition of the favorites feature and the user defaults feature. These are huge when it comes to the Helix because it's going to save so much time building a preset. They are very similar, but they're also very different. The favorites is going to be a list that you can easily access at any point in time just by turning one of the encoders right on the front of the Helix. Super useful, as opposed to user defaults, where it's just going to literally change your user default. So every time you pull up that block, your saved settings will pop up. Another big difference is the favorites will save a foot switch assignment also. So that's a really big part of this and a key factor in which one you're going to choose to use. So if I start a fresh preset and I want to pull up an amp model, I can either go to the favorites and it'll save a bunch of stuff that I want there, or I can go to the user default and just pull it up there and it'll have my settings ready for me. So let's go over to the Helix and I'll show you guys how to do this. So I have an all right now preset. This is a solid JTM45 preset. You see the J45 bright channel here. Let's say I want this to be what happens every single time I pull up the Brit J45 bright channel. I want this setting. I'm going to hit action, page over, and I'm going to hit user default. So now model saving saved as user default. So every time I pull up a J45, these will be the settings that are going to pull up. So if I scroll to a new preset here and I go to my regular amp models, I have all of my saved settings that I just saved as my user default anytime. So if I scroll here, whatever happens, you hit this on accident. Every time I come back to the J45 bright, I have my settings saved. Amazing. I'm also going to change this to a favorite. So action, add to favorites. I'm going to overwrite this one. So now every time I go to my favorites list, this J45 is going to pull up. Let's move on. Okay, so for the favorites, we have a little bit of a different situation, okay? Say that this is my favorite my favorite Elephant Man setting that I've ever come up with, and I'm sick of having to remember it, or I'm sick of having to do all of these settings every time. I just want to pull up Elephant Man, and I want these settings. You're going to go Action, Add to Favorites. And now you have a whole list here of favorites, okay? You can add a new favorite, you can replace an old one. Let's go to Add New, and you'll see that my Elephant Man shows up there. And also, while I'm in my favorites here, I can hit Action, I can rename this, I can clear it, or I can reorder it. So when I reorder, I could just change where I want this. This is going to come into play in a second, so bear with me here. So keep it, right? If we want to rename it, you can name it to whatever you want. Let's just say Man. So now every time, that's my Elephant Man favorite preset. Okay, super easy, super cool. Another thing, actually, you see I have this foot switch here. Let's move this. Okay, so I just saved my Elephant Man delay to this preset, to this foot switch, right? Let's just make sure it's saved, adding to favorites. Let's say I want to replace it. Oh man, they got rid of my name. So I'm gonna, just wanted to double check because I moved the foot switch. I want to make sure it saves. Okay, so now we have all of that saved. Let's say I want to go to fresh preset. Totally fresh preset here, okay? So now I had previously saved a Tima that was in foot switch 2. I saved my Elephant Man to foot switch 3. Fresh preset, right? Let's start. Boom. I just turned the knob. That's all I did. Simple turn of the knob. Goes right to your favorites list. If you push this in, you see your favorites list once you turn. So if you page over, you see all your favorites. So you could pick it that way, where you just press it like that, or you could just start spinning it and it'll go right to your favorites. So let's say I want that Tima. I now want my J45. I'm just going to add a random impulse response or whatever cab. It doesn't matter which one because this is just for an example. And now here I want my Elephant Man. It shows up in its foot switch already assigned, as did the Tima. And now I could just build a preset like that. Just keep going however many items you want to save. If you have a specific pedal board that you like, you could literally just go through here, cycle through instead of having to copy and paste through different presets. And then since I really didn't do anything here, I'm going to do something drastic. I'm going to go to action and I'm going to clear all my favorites just because I can. So now I have no favorites list. So you see it skips it. You can also do these in HX Edit, and as expected, it's super easy to do. So since I already deleted my previous setup of user defaults, I'm going to go to my JTM amp block here. I'm going to right click it. And here you see I have save as favorite, and I also have user default. So I'm going to click user default. So now this is saved as my user default. So if say I X this out and I want to pull up another amp, there's J45 bright. You'll see it comes up with those same exact settings. And now if I want to save this as a favorite, I'm going to right click. I can go to save as favorite. I pop up here and you can rename this. Call it Steve JTM. We'll save that. And now you see here, I have my favorite here. So that's another interesting thing to note. You have your presets, you have your IR folder, and now you have your favorites folder. So whenever you go to a block, your favorites will be accessible right there. That's pretty cool. Let's save the pedal. So I have this Minotaur. If you guys didn't know about this also, when you right click, you can go here to where it has bypass assign, and you see foot switch 9 is my Minotaur here. So now when I save this as a favorite, I'll just keep it as Minotaur for simplicity's sake. You see it pop up over here in my favorites tab. And now I'm going to X out of that like it's not there. Let's go to distortion, Minotaur. And you'll see it's actually not my favorite yet. So now instead of going to distortion, Minotaur that way, I can either go to my favorites, Minotaur, click it there, and you'll see it saved my bypass assign. Whereas if I did this the long way and I go to my Minotaur and I go to bypass assign, you'll see it says none. So that's doing it the long way and the old way, which is not our way anymore. And you can now go just right from the favorites tab, click on Minotaur, and it pops up right there with the bypass assignment already there. This is way too cool. All right, so that does it for this video. I hope you guys learned how to use your user defaults and your user favorites. Again, this is probably the best thing to happen to the Helix since the Command Center in 2.9. I'm super hyped on this one. It's gonna make preset making so much easier. But yeah, hope you guys got something out of this video. Ask any questions below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.